Going? Okay. Howdy, everybody. Howdy, howdy. How's it going? How's it hanging? How's your day been? Let me know down in the comments below. I got a video for you. Over the last couple of weeks, I have been kind of hitting a bit of a roadblock. Apologies if you hear some nonsense over in that corner of the room. Little Miss Dolores has been going absolutely batshit crazy, today. I can't leave her out, because she will run all over the place while I'm filming, and my cats probably will give her a bit of a hard time, I'm guessing. I don't know. Either way, I don't trust her alone with my cats, so she has to go back in the tank, but she doesn't like being in the tank, so she's freaking out. So if you hear that, that's what that is. Apologies for the ramble. I haven't had any caffeine, or at least nearly not enough today, to be talking at any length of time, but it's happening either way. So, yeah, today's video, I feel like it's a bit of an important topic. I feel like for me, I don't think I've made or talked about something like specifically towards this yet. But that is that there are certain things about being a guy / being transgender / being on testosterone that I have occasionally found myself missing. And I didn't think I would. That's not something that I kind of figured would happen. You know, because when I detransitioned, I was like, okay, I'm gonna close that chapter of my life. You know, it's over, it's done. I'm not detransitioning anymore, you know, and I kind of figured that I would just kind of lock it in the closet, right, and just never have to deal with that again. But I have found myself missing, surprisingly, at least surprisingly to me, missing some parts about being on testosterone. And I kind of want to specify that. It's not necessarily being transgender that I miss, for I feel like obvious reasons. But testosterone, I find myself missing some of the effects that it has. Oh my god, are you serious? Do you have to do that right now? Apologies. My mind's all over the place, and she's not helping this right now. But yeah, there's certain aspects and certain things about being on testosterone that I have found myself missing as of late. And I just want to kind of start this off by saying, when I first said that I would detransition, here's kind of my timeline here. When I first was a guy, and said that I wanted to detransition, I had, you know, originally refused. You know, because when I first, I'm sorry, I can't speak right now. When I first said that I was going to detransition, I actually changed my mind, because I had sat down and I had actually thought about it, and I said, okay, yes, I should detransition. But then I got really freaked out because I had, you know, looked in the mirror, essentially, and being on testosterone for so long, I had thought, oh my god, I look like shit. Not for a guy, but if I wanted to, you know, at the time, go back to being a girl, it would, in my mind, I was just like, fuck no, right? So for a while, I refused to detransition. I said, you know what? I can do this. I can go my entire life and still be transgender, and it will be just fine. Even if I know I'm not really trans. For a period of time, for like a couple weeks, I was way too scared to detransition. I just told myself that I would just deal with it, essentially. And then a few weeks later, I realized that I did not, in fact, want to deal with it. So I did detransition, and then I hit the euphoric state where everything was not as horrible as I had thought it was, and it was a little bit better. And, you know, things were going too bad. You know, I didn't really focus on things like my voice at first, because, you know, my relationships kind of stayed the same. They didn't kind of tank like I thought they would. My coworkers were fine with it, because that was back when I still worked at Walgreens, and, you know, my family was fine with it. Things didn't go nearly as catastrophically explosive as I thought they would, because, you know, I'm kind of a pessimist. You know, my motto is, you know, is like always expect the worst. That way, when the worst doesn't happen, or when it's better than you thought, then, you know, you're pleasantly surprised instead of let down if you are an optimist. Nothing against my optimists out there. That's just my mentality. It's just how it works for me. But yeah, for a period of time, I kind of was in the euphoric stage. And then even, you know, eventually a couple of weeks after that, that phase kind of wore off. And then I started to really kind of focus on the things that really bothered me. At that point, the major one was my voice, because it was deeper back then than it is now, I will say. It has gotten lighter. And, you know, if you think that your voice isn't going to get lighter, I've said it a million times, but I'm kind of living proof. It does get lighter. It really does. And, you know, then I was kind of really down on it. And I didn't want to say this at, you know, at the time, because that's also when I first had kind of started my YouTube channel, was when I first detransitioned. And that was in the euphoric stage. But, and, you know, as I'm posting videos, I had kind of started to really, really hate the fact that I had transitioned at all, because that was when I had really kind of gotten to the peak of, oh my god, testosterone fucked up my body. What did I do? I don't sound the same. I don't look the same. You know, there's all these things just kind of hit me at once, and at the time I really kind of hated that. But I didn't want to put that kind of a message on the internet, especially for people who were detransitioning. So I didn't, you know, I didn't say that. But there was a time where I really, really found myself hating my decisions that I made that had led me to that point. And that lasted, I want to say, maybe for a couple of months. But after that, I really started to kind of get over that and kind of appreciate the point that I'm at now. You know, and kind of how everything was fine, because everything kind of started to, you know, taper off, and it got better, and now I'm fully satisfied with where I am now. Like, I don't have any issues, really, that I can attribute to being on testosterone, or being trans, at least. So yeah, I feel like I've really kind of hit a good point in my life, and I am very satisfied, but there was a point where I wasn't. But now I've gotten to the point where I feel like I'm able to look back at what I had, you know, what I felt when I was transgender, without kind of having it be clouded by this dislike and hatred of me even being in that period at all. And when I do kind of look back, I do kind of find myself starting to miss some of the things, you know, that occurred when I was on testosterone. And I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna attribute this to being on testosterone, because I don't think this is, you know, just being a guy perk. But I mean, for example, I mean, one thing that I really kind of find myself missing is I was so much more motivated when I was on testosterone. And I'm not going to say that this is like a universal thing. Like, this is just exclusively for me. But if you are maybe a trans guy, or, you know, or you're detransitioning and you kind of know what I'm talking about, or you feel the same thing, please leave a comment down below so that I know that I'm not alone. But testosterone is like a freaking happy drug. At least it was for me. I mean, being on testosterone, I was so much more energetic. I was more motivated to do things. I mean, just for example, when I worked at Walgreens, there was a couple of months, especially over the winter, where I had exclusively worked night shifts. I can't speak. And so I would get to work at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I would work until maybe about 11 p.m. at night, and then I would go afterwards straight to the gym, which was right next door to the Walgreens that I worked at, and I would work out for about 2.5, 3 hours, so I'd get home at anywhere between 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I just kind of did that repeatedly, and afterwards I would walk home. and this wasn't the entire period, but there was a period of time, and it was in the winter time, where my car broke down. So after, I would walk to work, or I'd jog, or whatever I was in the mood for. Um, and then after work, I'd go to the gym, and then I'd jog all the way back home in the snow, right? And it wasn't a problem for me. Like, oh, well, that wasn't an issue. It was things like that, that now that I've been off of testosterone, I kind of recognize felt so much easier for me when I was on testosterone to begin with. Things like that, talking to people felt a little bit easier, but maybe that can be attributed to just being a guy, because, how I spoke to people was different when I was a guy too. I mean, when I was talking to other guys, it's kind of just, you say what you mean and you mean what you say, but, speaking with other women is very, very, very different. But there's a certain confidence that I had when I was on testosterone that has kind of dimmed down a little bit. It's not that I'm not confident now, it's just that there was just a little bit of a different level, of when I was a guy. But yeah, it's just things like that where I'll be just around, or I'll be thinking, oh, I need to do something, I need to make a video, oh, I need to go to the store, or maybe I should start working out, and things that if I had decided to do them a year ago when I was on testosterone, it would have been done by the end of the day, right? And this is probably just a me problem, but I find myself so freaking lazy now. Trying to get myself to do things, and also you just start to miss some of the effects of testosterone, I mean, like I said, it was just, for me at least, it was a happy drug. I kind of also find myself missing the way that it made me feel sometimes. Women are very emotional, and I don't necessarily like that. Even though I'm not all women, I should say. I'm not, really. But, yeah, some of the, just some of the ways that it made me feel sometimes, I do kind of find myself missing. Because I will say, compared to being a woman, like if I had to compare them, I would say that testosterone kind of made everything dull in a good way compared to being like a woman. Because now when I am feeling like either happy or excited or angry or whatever range of emotion, you feel normally as a woman, as a guy, it's there, but it's just not nearly these massive peaks and valleys, it's just not as intense. And I thought that was so nice. Like, I didn't get angry for as long. Granted, I still got angry, but things weren't as big of a deal, or they didn't feel like as big of a deal when I was on testosterone. As of now, it just kind of all kind of gets to you. And also, I feel like this goes without saying, but not no periods when you're on testosterone. Please come back. Or rather, please go away. Yeah, there's just things that I find myself missing. And, I kind of, it's just kind of surprising me, because I didn't really think that there would ever be a point in my life where I'd miss anything at all about being transgender, right? And like I said, it's not that I regret it, because I don't really regret transitioning now. I don't think I'd be the same person if I hadn't transitioned, right? I don't feel like I wouldn't have the same experiences. My opinions might be a little bit different. I feel like I'm more knowledgeable about probably a wide variety of things. So I don't necessarily regret it anymore. There was a period of time where I did. But like I said, I never really broadcasted that because I didn't want to give that kind of a message on my channel that I freaking hated being transgender, and it was just, I just regret it and everything's awful. That's just not, it's not the case. But yeah, I mean, if anybody kind of knows what I'm talking about, or, I feel like maybe somebody who was transgender would kind of know what I'm talking about, and that could probably go either way. Like, there are certain things that you're allowed to miss, I mean, even when I was trans, like, there were things that I missed about being a girl, even early on, in my transition. And I feel like saying that you miss certain things about being a girl doesn't invalidate you being trans or whatnot, or your detransition. Like, it doesn't change anything, because at least back when I was trans, I would refuse to admit that I missed anything about being a girl, because I thought that, well, I'm trans, I'm happy with being a guy, I can't admit that, you know, I miss anything about being a girl, because, you know, people are gonna say, well, maybe you're not trans after all, you know. And obviously it was true for me, but, you know, there was, you know, a period of time where I didn't want to, I couldn't do that, because I couldn't have anybody saying that, you know, or trying to invalidate my experiences or whatnot. But I just want to say, you know, if you find yourself missing something about either side, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're trans or that you're not trans, you know. I mean, it just means that there's perks to both, you know. And I'm okay with saying that now. I wasn't okay with saying that for quite a while. And even when I was detransitioned, I didn't really want to really think about any positives of being transgender, because I was not happy with my decision to do it at all for a while. So yeah, I mean, I kind of wanted to demonize that kind of part of my life and not find any positives, which is kind of maybe a little bit odd to say, but at least it's changed now. Well, knocked on the wall. Yeah, you know, and like I said, I posted my I think 6 or 7 month update, and I said, you know, my detransition is over, and that's true, it is over. And I really do think that everything is getting better and better and better, right? But yeah, so I guess this is kind of a message that I wanted to put out there. You know, if you find yourself missing one side or the other, or that doesn't necessarily mean anything. It doesn't, you know, don't freak out. I mean, if you want to detransition, then obviously, you know, maybe there's something that you should do. But I missed certain things about being a girl when I was transgender, and now that I've detransitioned, I miss certain things about being a guy. It's just the perks of both sides now that you've been on both sides, right? But yeah, so that's all I wanted to put out there. That's my message for today. You know, I haven't really quite done a video on this topic specifically yet, so hope it helps. I hope it helps somebody. I hope it was informative. And like I said, let me know if you have any sort of experiences at all that are related to that. Because yeah, for a while I thought that that was very, very weird of me to miss things about being transgender, right? But yeah, that was it. Let me know what you guys thought. You know, I guess yeah, the like, comment, subscribe things that every freaking YouTuber says nowadays. But yeah, I will be posting more regularly. I really, really want to, because lately I've been putting almost all my effort into Twitch and live streaming. And that's all well and good, but, you know, I'm wanting to put more effort and focus into YouTube now, and at least post more consistently and more often. So yeah, I expect more and more content. I'll probably have another video out, if not tomorrow, then probably the next day. Yeah, I honestly couldn't say what it's gonna be either. I've been posting gaming videos. I know there's a couple other videos that I had planned. It could be anything. It really could be anything. I don't even know what to call my channels now, because it's not detransition talks. It's not vlog style talks. It's not just gaming stuff. I don't know. It's like a petri dish of freaking everything. But yeah. So if you're into that, hang around. We would appreciate to have you join the howdy gang, as I say over on my Twitch all the time. Yeah, links to my socials are in the description. If you want to catch me or talk to me, I'm on my Discord almost all the time, consistently at least. So all those links are in the description below for every socials that I'm on. Yeah, I hope you all have a good day. I will catch you guys later. You do. So bye.